What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. And it looks like we have some good things on the horizon in the world of boxing. It looks like, according to Bob Arum, they are making a fight with Nonito, the Filipino Flash Donaire, and Guillermo Rigondeaux of Cuba. And this is something that's been talked about amongst boxing communities and forums and YouTube for the longest. Who would win Nonito Donaire versus the top guys in a lot of people's mind, which is Abner Mars and Rigondeaux? And to me, that's a great start to 2013 if we're already planning and proposing fights like this. My only concern is one, I hope that the fight goes through, no bullshit, and it goes through as planned. Because in the world of boxing, we all know there's always something that comes up. Randall Bailey was supposed to fight Devin Alexander, and then he gets hurt. Or Andre Ward was supposed to fight Kelly Pavlik, I believe, this month, and then he has to undergo surgery on his shoulder, and he gets hurt in training camp. Or Gamboa and Bam Bam Rios. I was really looking forward to that when they announced that last year. They were saying Brandon Rios and Guillermo, or not Guillermo, Eureka's Gamboa, they were supposed to fight. And that fight fell through. Gamboa pulled out of the fight, didn't show up to the press conferences, and disappeared for like a year and relinquished his belts and all kinds of stuff. So I just hope everything goes according to plan and this fight is actually in stone. Because even with the Sergio Martinez and the Chavez Jr. fight, they had announced it, and I was like, yeah, right, something's gonna happen, or this ain't real. Because we waited so long as boxing fans to see this fight. This fight had been talked about so long, and then when they finally announced it, I was like, yeah, right, this ain't gonna happen. And luckily, that fight did happen, and we were all able to see the outcome and witness what happened. So I hope this is no different. I hope they're really serious, and there's no I had an argument with my manager, so now we can't fight, or just no politics or bullshit. Aside from that, Nonito recently commented on this proposed clash with Rigondeaux. Here's what he had to say. He says, everyone's saying April 27th is the date and it's Rigondeaux, but I don't know anything about it yet, so I can't say if it is for sure. He says, I know HBO is wanting to get that fight now. I'm good with it, but I still need to confirm it with my manager, Cameron Duncan. So he's game. We all know Rigondeaux has expressed interest, so I guarantee Rigondeaux's game. Let's get it on. I'm really looking forward to this. I want to give you just my insight, early predictions on this particular fight. One, I think it's going to be a hell of a matchup because they're both great fighters. I like both fighters. And really, either guy can win. It's just going to be a chess match of kind of who gets off to their game plan earliest. And it's going to be a chess match. It's going to be a battle. It's really going to test both fighters. But in my mind, I see Nonito Donaire beating Guillermo Rigondeaux. I would say a 10th round stoppage, if not a unanimous decision. And here's why. This is not taking anything away from Guillermo Rigondeaux, but in my opinion, I think Guillermo Rigondeaux, for starters, he's a little bit more stationary and stiff. So that's going to play into Nonito's hands because we all know Nonito is quick and has power. Um, Guillermo Rigondeaux is excellent when it comes to defense. He's probably one of the most defensive minded game or fighters in the game, aside from the Floyd Mayweathers and a couple other people. But he's highly defensive, which is a great attribute. Because you got guys like Victor Ortiz who they're just offensive minded and they just get hit. And Nonito can be hit, and he showed that before. In my opinion, I think Nonito is going to fill out Guillermo Rigondeaux, feel his power, and once he feels and gets a feeling for his power, then he's going to open up and he's going to take some shots. But I think that Nonito has a chin. He's been in there with people like Jorge Arce, Nishioka, um, Wilfredo Vasquez Jr., Vic Darchinian, people who have known to people are known to have KO power and get guys out of there. So, in my opinion, I think Nonito has a better chin than Guillermo Rigondeaux. I don't know if you guys seen the last fight with Roberto Marroquin and Rigondeaux, but Rigondeaux was dropped possibly twice. It was either once or twice, I think, in that fight. And I honestly think that Rigondeaux's chin is not granite. I don't think he has a granite chin like Carl Froch or one of those Margarito types. I think his high level of defense masks the fact that his chin is probably mediocre, and his level of commitment, because he takes carefully placed, accurate, economical shots. He doesn't just go out there and just start swinging for the fences. Um, but I don't think his chin is as solid, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I don't think his chin's as solid, and I think that Nonito's going to end up touching him with something. He's going to take some punishment or take some shots, trying to figure it out. But it's a puzzle that I think Nonito will, at some point, figure out and get Rigondeaux out of there. He definitely has the momentum. He fought 3 times last year, all victories, and he's trying to be that next champion, that next Filipino sensation. We all know Pacquiao's kind of on the decline. I think that momentum's going to help Rigondeaux. A lot of fans, when I hear Rigo versus Donaire conversations, a lot of people go off the fact of amateur background, and I don't think that's fair. I don't think you can. Don't get me wrong. Amateur background plays a part in a fighter's career. Like, we know Adrian Broner had an amateur background, and we see what he's doing now. Supposedly Rigondeaux's had over 400 plus fights in Cuba, and he has a high amateur background. But at the same time, amateur fighting has different rules. They use headgear. It's not exactly the same. I liken it to, let's say I played a game of basketball, game of 21 against LeBron James when we were in middle school or high school, and I beat him. That's fine and dandy, but at the same time, the person that's in front of you right here and now in 2013, LeBron James, what is he? Well, you know what I mean? Can I beat him now? So the amateur background, to me, it helps you. It helps a fighter become seasoned, but there's also bad habits that fighters can pick up in the amateur background. If you fight too many fights in the amateurs, you can pick up bad habits, and when you cross over to the professional world, you're still doing some of the things that maybe got you points in the amateurs or maybe won you fights, but it doesn't necessarily work like that in the professional boxing game. So it goes both ways. It can help season you, but at the same time, it can hurt you if you have too many amateur fights, because you can pick up those bad traits, or you fight. I mean, a perfect example to me is Amir Khan. I think to this day he still fights amateurish. Like, the way he fights is very amateurish. In the amateurs, the stuff he's doing now, it's probably going to get him a lot of points. He's definitely going to get points because he's just da 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 in and out, ambush style. But in the professional, that's also going to be some of the things that are going to get you knocked out. And we've seen what happened in the Danny Garcia bout. So amateur is good, but it also can be bad if you have too many amateur fights, because you're going to have a tough time crossing over. And we all know, I mean, every sport for the most part has quote unquote an amateur. If you look at NFL, the NFL versus college football, completely different. Is very different. I even once heard a football player saying playing in college is like driving residential, 25 miles per hour, and playing in the NFL is like driving on the freeway. So it's not the same. It's not exactly the same. It's a different level of talent usually when you get to the higher levels. Different level of speed, power, game plan. In the amateurs, you don't know who you're fighting. You know what I mean? You could be fighting some people who are bums and don't really have a long career ahead of them. But in the professionals, if they've made it that far and then their training camp and whatnot, usually they've been through the ropes. That's why Nonito Donaire and Andre Ward know each other, because they're all from the Bay Area and they used to go to all the tournaments and competitions. And most, there's been a lot of fights, like even the Robert Marroquin, the one that knocked down Guillermo Rigondeaux, he beat, I believe, Adrian Broner, and there's another fighter that he beat in the amateurs. But at the same time, would Roberto Marroquin beat Adrian Broner, this Adrian Broner, right here and now? Even though you did it in the amateurs, that doesn't mean you can reduplicate it. So a lot of people just talk about the amateurs a little bit too much for my liking, because it's not a tell-all. Gennady Golovkin, another example. We still have to see some more from this guy. I think he has potential. He has power, definitely. But just because he knocked out certain guys in the amateurs, or he did this and knocked them down in the amateurs, whatever happened in the amateurs, that doesn't mean it's guaranteed going to be um, transcendent in his professional career. So that's my whole point. Anyway, I see Nonito stopping Rigondeaux probably within 10. I'm going to give him 10 rounds to figure Guillermo Rigondeaux. I think it's going to be similar to a fight with Nonito and Nishioka, how you could tell that Nonito seemed to be getting a little bit frustrated, and it's going to be like that because Rigondeaux is very elusive. He's stealthy. He picks his shots. He's accurate. It's not going to be a walk in the park for Nonito, but I think Nonito has what it takes and the skills to take whatever Rigondeaux has to give and figure him out. And I think he's going to end up catching him with something. But it's like I said, I don't think he's just going to walk through Rigondeaux. It's going to be a highly competitive match, and it's going to be a chess match. So I'm really looking forward to it. Hope there's no bullshit. Let me know what you guys think of this fight. Who will win? Why do you think they'll win? What round? All that good stuff. As always, subscribe, comment, and or hate on the video. Until next videos, Ego, signing off.